Joshua chapter 3. Joshua chapter 3. We're going to be looking at Joshua 3 and 4. But Joshua chapter 3, and I'm going to read, I guess, one verse to kind of like get us started. I've been stuck on transition and stuck on moving. That's where we stuck at, transition and moving. I know all of us are stuck in a place where it's time to move. It's time to transition, and it's really hard. And for some reason, I can't get off it no matter what scripture I go to. What I find in the text is transition and moving. Joshua chapter 3, look at verse 16. That the waters which came down from above stood and rose up upon a heap very far from the city Adam, that is beside Zaratan. And those that came down toward the sea of the plain, even the salt sea, failed and were cut off. And the people passed over right against Jericho. And the word of the Lord is already blessed. I know you can't see it yet, but we're about to work it. I know you can't see it. I've been stuck in transition. Last week we were in Samuel, and we looked at what do you do when you've gone as far as you can and you don't know what to do. We talked about David with the Ark of the Covenant and how he was trying to bring it to Jerusalem because he had everything in Jerusalem but the Ark of God in the presence of God. So he tries to move it, and when he moves it, the Ark moves off the ox cart, and Uzzah touches it, and he dies. And as a result, David goes to God and says, God, what do we do? And then David put the Ark of the Covenant on their shoulders, and they walked 6 paces, and then they stopped, because 6 is the number of man, because there's certain things that we can only do that God can't do. But when he got to the point where he had done all that he can do, before he did the 7th thing, they had to praise. And we always get to a point where we can go as far as we can go, and then we got to wait on God before we can do what we need to do. So now I say, Lord, where we going to go? He takes me now to Joshua. Once again, transition. For some reason, I'm stuck on transition because we got many people in here that God is trying to move somewhere, and you stuck on moving. You don't know how to move. You don't know what to do. You don't know the process of the move. I'm talking about transition in your lives. People going from high school to college. People going from college to a job. People transitioning from one job to another, from one city to another. And it's hard when it's time to move. We don't know what to do. We don't know how to do it. So I'm like, Lord, what you need to talk about? He takes me to Joshua. Joshua chapter 3 and Joshua chapter 4. The children of Israel have now been in the wilderness for 40 years. They've gone out around the wilderness, actually the Sinai Peninsula, down there at the bottom. They get out of Egypt. They get punished in the Sinai Peninsula because they decided to do it their way instead of God's way. And 40 is the number of testing. So for 40 years, God tested them. For 40 years, God tried them. For 40 years, they went through folk dying. They went 40 years, snakes and scorpions and serpents and all this other stuff. And now it's time to transition. And when God transitions, look how he does it. He kills Moses. The leader now dies. So now they got to transition now without the leader, without Moses. It's time to cross over. It's time to cross over. Then he has to encourage Joshua because Joshua's scared. Joshua chapter 1, he tells Joshua, be strong in the Lord and the power of his might. He tells Joshua, meditate on the word day and night. As I was with Moses, so will I be with you. So Joshua then got pumped up and he's now ready to transition. But the people, they still won't move because they're used to following Moses and they ain't used to following Joshua. So God says, I'm going to magnify you in the sight of the people. The people are going to know that when I was with Moses, I'm going to be with you the same way. But now there's an obstacle because every time it's time to transition, there will be an obstacle. Every time it's time. See, Lord, why can't the move be easy? No move is easy. Man, people hate moving. You got to go get the U-Haul. Gotta move all your stuff. Then you see how dirty your house is. You lose your slippers. You lose your toothbrush. Nobody, I mean, it's just never easy. Can't get folk to come. Gotta take the bed down. Gotta keep the parts. Gotta wrap them up. Moving is never, it's always gonna be an obstacle. You got the money, but the money ain't cleared the bank yet, so you can't get the U-Haul yet because the money ain't clear. Because it's always an obstacle when it's time to move. It's never, listen. You're going to always have an obstacle. So their obstacle is, it's time for them to go to the land of promise, the place that God had promised them. God didn't just promise it to them. He promised it to Abraham. Abraham, their father, 500 years prior, God promised it to him, the children of Israel, when they were in Egypt and they were making the pyramids. They were remembering the promise that God made. So 500, 600 years later, it's now time to go into what God has promised, and an obstacle is in the way. It's kind of like going to school and you got 40 classes to graduate and you done took 39. But look like number 40, you just can't get through it. You done dropped it. You done put it off to the summer. You done took it again, dropped it again. You got a tutor this time, but still, you got to cross. It's just one of those things where you got. So now they're ready to go in, and their obstacle is the Jordan River. In order for 500 to 600 years, they've waited to get here. God has promised, but they got to go over the Jordan to get to their promise. Anybody there today? You waited a long time. Now, you got to understand where the Jordan River was and where they were. It was about a mile. So you could see from one bank to the other. It's so close you could see it. But you got to go through something to get it. You could see the ring. You could see the wedding. You could see the success. But you just ain't there yet. Boy, it's so disgusting. I tell you, for us that go to school, I was proud, when I started getting, doing my work right, had a 4.0, I was summa cum laude. You understand? But that last semester, all I want to do is get out of that thing. I'm tired of studying. Don't want to read no more books. Don't want to talk to nobody. Don't want no teacher. Don't need nobody to pat me on the back. I can see the diploma. Forget the grade. Give me the diploma. But I still had to cross the Jordan. Let's get to the text. Here they go. They're at the Jordan. It's time to cross over. And so what God tells Joshua, he says, what I want you to do is I want you to tell the priest to take the Ark of the Covenant to go before you and to step in the water. And when they step in the water will recede, and then you can cross over into your promise. Let me stop right here and give you point number one. Watch this. In order for you to go into your promise, the first thing is the Ark of the Covenant must go before. In order for them to go into the promised land, God had to lead them to their destiny. I know it don't seem like much, but the problem is a lot of us won't get into our promise, but we don't want to follow God into our promise. And the thing is, we want to go our own way. We want to go the way my mama don't know. He fine. He nice. He going to treat me good. And you following him and you ain't following the law. And when you follow him, you're going to wind up in the Jordan, drowned, dead, children lost, black eye, because you followed yourself and not the Lord. Somebody got a deal on a house. Follow the Lord. You following a deal. Somebody got a deal on a car. You got that deal on a car. You got a clunker now. Toom, 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 all over the place. You smell like smoke every time you wind up because you didn't follow the Ark of the Covenant. You followed yourself. So he says, look, in order for you to go over. Now I know this don't seem like much, but y'all don't see the text. Watch this. Prior to Joshua chapter 3, before that, God always led them fire by day, cloud by night, But now for them to go over, no more cloud, no more fire, just the ark. So watch this. In order for this transition, God now changes the way they have to follow him. Oh, I'm preaching good. See, watch this now. See, because in our life, God teaches us ways to follow him. I'm God, I change not. He's the same yesterday, today, forevermore. That's cool. There was always the Ark of the Covenant, but it was cloud and fire. They were looking for the cloud and the fire. And now in Joshua chapter 3, he moves the cloud and the fire. And now it's only the ark. And a lot of y'all can't cross over because you're still looking for the cloud and the fire. You're looking for God to work the way he used to work for you to cross this river, but he ain't working that way no more. The way he used to work, he doesn't work anymore in your life. For example, when I first started preaching and first got saved, I was like, Lord, I need a word. And I opened the Bible, boom, and I had a word. Well, he don't work like that no more in my life because I've developed maturity. He's the same God. But he expects from me, he told me to hide this word in my heart that I might not sin against God. So now I need to have maturity to know where to go, where to stay. But see, the thing is, we say we following God, and you've been saved 30 years and you still. He will work that way for a while. Same God. But now you have a different river to cross. And so now he changes. Matter of fact, before this, he was feeding them every day. Before this, quail from heaven and bread from heaven. Bread from heaven, feed me till I want no more. When they get to the river, the bread stops. When they get to the river, the quail stops. Because now that I got to transition you cannot have stuff the same old way. And a lot of us can't cross over into our destiny because you want everything to be the same old way. And it ain't working that way over there. Lord. I think I'm preaching good. So the first thing he said, look, y'all need to get the Ark of the Covenant. Put it before you. Don't get too close to it. Matter of fact, it's 2,000 cubits. Get 2,000 cubits behind it. Get close enough to see it, but not close enough to touch it. And let the priest go before you. Then he tells them, point number 2, I want the priest went and out throughout the tribes and says, sanctify yourselves, I think it's verse number 4, for 3 days. Sanctify. Tell your neighbor, sanctify. See, because you can't cross into this thing dirty. Sanctification deals with cleaning your act up. God won't let you go over with that old sin. Now, no, watch this now. No, don't miss this. For 40 years, they walked in the wilderness, and God done killed the parents in the wilderness. So that stuff that was on them is dead, but that generational stuff still on the kids. Oh, y'all don't hear what I'm telling you. So God tell the kids, now look, I know your parents dead, but in order for you to go into this promise, you can't go over there with all that stuff in your life. And I want to stop here for 2 minutes and tell some people it's time to sanctify yourselves. Listen, what you did, all have sinned and fallen short, that's cool. But you can't walk into this destiny with that stuff. Lying, stealing, cheating, whoremongering, adulterating. You got to change your lifestyle. You cannot walk into God's promise like this. I told you last week, you remember last week when Uzzah touched the ark of God, he was doing a good thing so it wouldn't fall, but because he wasn't sanctified or set apart to touch it, he died. He died. But God allowed the people that were evil to touch it because they didn't know no better. The other folk, the Philistines, put it on the ox cart, and when they touched it, they ain't died. Because they ain't know, but you know better, and you trying to walk into destiny with all that stuff.
All right, let me move. Because I'm not going to be long. I just want to get to what I need to get to. Because, see, our problem is I've been waiting my whole life to get there, and I can see it. But number one, I got to follow God. And I got to follow him the different way he's taking me. Not my way. And then I got to get all this stuff out of my life. And you know, for those of us who are saved, those of you that's not saved, you don't understand this. But those of us who are saved, sanctification is a process of cleaning yourself up. And with the process of cleaning yourself up, it's always something else that you got to clean up. Now, where I'm at right now, I got saved at 19. I'm now 46. I do none of the stuff I did at 19, but I still got stuff I got to clean up at 46. And it's so disgusting. Because, it's like, Lord, what do you want? I done stopped this. Good. Now stop this. Lord, I ain't doing this no more. Good. Now stop doing this. Sanctification. I am sanctified. I'm being sanctified. I will be sanctified. I got sanctified when I got born again. But now I'm in the process of cleaning my life up. And what I'm trying to tell you is you're going to be stuck on the East Bank. And you will not be able to go to the West Bank till you get some stuff out your life. Remember, they stayed out there 40 years for the parents to die. The children are ready to go in, but the children can't go in until they first get themselves together. Why do we think we're going to walk into the promises of God with all that stuff in our lives? 3 days. We got about 2 to 6 million people. The priest going, sanctify yourself. They're going to every 10. Sanctify yourself. Sanctify yourself. 3 days. Tell them to be sanctified. So for 3 days, the people start cleaning themselves up. Remember now, none of them were yet circumcised. Circumcision took place on the other side. In other words, this one is an easy cleaning. The one on the other side. Because circumcision is sanctification too. It's cutting away the sin. But over here, all I want you to do is what Isaiah says, wash you, make you clean, put away the evil of your doing before my eyes. Isaiah 1:14. God does not clean us up. We clean ourselves up. God just help me to stop doing it. He ain't going to help you stop. You stop. Lord, I don't want to lie no more. Stop lying. Okay. Isaiah 1:14. Wash you. Make you clean. Turn pornography off. Nobody going to turn it off for you. Okay. Well, you know, something just touched my hand and it made me hit the button. Okay. No, your hand hit the button. Wash you. Can't go over till you wash you up. On the other side, it's more than a washing, it's a cutting at Gilgal. We ain't teaching that. Let's move on. Okay, so they clean everybody up. God say, okay, everybody clean. Y'all ready to go? Now, this is what I want y'all to do. I want the priests to take the Ark of the Covenant, put it on their shoulders. And I want them to step in the water. And when they step in the water, I'm going to move the water back. Cool. People sanctify themselves. Priests put the Ark of the Covenant on their shoulder. And they step in the water. And the water starts to recede. Now, I know y'all don't see it. That's my job as the pastor to help you see it. Because now we have a faith issue. Because in order for you to cross the water, you got to have the faith to step in the water. Wait a minute. When Moses crossed, they ain't need no faith to step in. He said, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. And he raised his hands and the water departed. This time, they had to trust God to step in some stuff, and they didn't know what was in the water. So they had to trust him that when they stepped in some stuff, he was going to move it. Jesus. See, a lot of y'all stuck right here because y'all scared to step in some stuff. It takes guts to step into a mortgage. It takes some guts to step into a marriage or a relationship because you don't know if he right and what he going to do, what she going to do. But watch this. In order to cross over, you got to step in that job. You got to step in. And how many of y'all still standing underwater? I don't know what's down there. Lord told me to step in. I see the ark. I done cleaned myself, but I don't know if I'm going to step in. Stepping in that. So this is where faith comes. Faith coming by hearing, hearing by the word of the Lord. Faith is trusting in God, relying on God, relying on God, what he said, he's going to do exactly what he said. And the thing is, we can't transition unless we trust him. Without faith, it is impossible to please God. And we must believe that he is and that he's a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. So we got a faith issue. Are you going to step in the water? Are you going to stand by the water and look at it? How many of y'all waiting for Moses to raise his hands? Lord, you open it up and when it's dry. Watch this. When Moses crossed, it was dry. When Joshua crosses, you got to step in while it's wet. What you got to step in that you're scared to step in? He going to move it, but you got to step in it not knowing what he going to do. He said he going to do it, but you ain't never seen him do it before. See, all of us know the end of the story, but back then, they ain't know what was in that water. Watch this. How deep was the water? Maybe when they stepped in, they would have fell in that bad boy. Yeah. I don't see nobody stepping in the Mississippi River talking about it's going to move back. Anybody trying the Red River? They'll go step in it. And trust. So now we got a faith issue. How many of you have faith issues that's stopping you from getting to your promised land? Yeah, you might have to go to Iowa. You might have to go to Cincinnati. You might have to do something that you really don't want to do. My ways are not like your ways. My thoughts are not like your thoughts. See, you're trying to go the easy way, and God said there's no easy way. The only way to the promised land is the Jordan River. When I studied it, this thing is so crazy. Watch this. The promised land was on the west bank. They were on the east bank. The reason why it's so funny, the Sinai Peninsula was down here by the west bank. So what they did was they walked in the peninsula. So all they had to do was walk straight up into the promised land. But no, God didn't do that. God brought them under the Dead Sea, around the Dead Sea, and brought them right here between the Red Sea and Jordan and stop them right there and say, now you got to cross over. It's over there. Why God just didn't say, walk on up? He brought them way over here. And now he said, now you got to cross this mountain. They were already on dry ground. Because he wants to see if you're going to trust me. Are you going to step in? For everybody that's here, I want to ask a question. What you scared to step in? I'm going back to school. Well, you got to go. You got to step in the door. Got to get the student loan or whatever. You got to do your FAFSA papers. Can't go if you don't step in the water. Can't buy a house unless you first qualify. Watch this. You call a realtor right now. You used to call a realtor, I want to look at the house. Realtor don't want to know if you want to look at the house. The first thing the realtor going to ask you, are you qualified? Am I right, realtor? I ain't wasting my time bringing you to see no house and you ain't qualified. But the qualification is you got to step in the water to get qualified. Oh, I don't want nobody looking at my credit. Credit ain't right. They're going to lower my credit. But see, you can't get across until you first got to step in. What are you afraid to step into? God is showing you this is the way, but yet you scared. Because watch this. You're now walking by faith. You're walking by sight. Now, this is the reason why I picked this text. This is the reason why I picked this text. Good, I got about 10 minutes. I picked this particular verse to read because you can't see the faith in the text. You actually have to get a map to look at the faith. The priest got the ark. Okay, God, You said step in the water. Here we go. And they step in the water. Watch this. This is a trip. And the water recedes. But it recedes at Adam. But they were standing at Jericho. Don't miss this. Jericho is by the Red Sea. But the water stopped at Adam, which is about 4 miles from the Sea of Galilee, which was about 20 miles from where they stepped. So where they stepped, it was still water. But God stopped it way up here. So where they were still standing in water. But God stopped it here. So they had to stay there and wait to experience the stop. I'm preaching pretty good. Y'all missed it. Y'all missed it. Crossover. All right, Lord, we see we done clean. Everybody clean? Okay. Let's go. Nothing move. Well, Lord, now watch this. This is what a faith. Because they had to stay there and they ain't see nothing change. And they standing there and like, God, you told us to stay. You told us you was going to move it, but nothing moved. But nothing moved where they were. But it moved way up here. But the thing is, they couldn't see it move. They had to trust it even though they couldn't see it. And see that's our problem. Everybody, we from Missouri. We won't see everything. I can't see nothing. I don't see no change. And you in church and stuff still ain't working for you. Still ain't got no man. Still ain't got no money. Still ain't got no job. Well, see, you see me standing at Jericho. You don't see what's going on at Adam down there. Now, Adam down there, God is working it out for me way up there. Now, watch this. Red Sea, when he said stand still, God opened it. At the Jordan River, he stopped it. Well, I'll be preaching. I hope y'all getting it. Red Sea, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Come on, 10 Commandments. Dum, 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 dum. Jordan, we here. I done applied for this mortgage, but I'm in school. Lord, I don't know none of this stuff. I can't afford the books. You got me. What you gonna do, Lord? And I'm saying to you, if he told you to go, even though you're standing at Jericho, have faith. Because at his word, Adam is drying up. And watch this. If it's dried up here, it's going to take a little time before it gets to you. But when it gets to you, now this is the question. Why did he dry it up at Adam and not at Jericho? Come on now. I'm here. Why don't you work it out here? 2 things. We'll see if you're going to trust him, even when you can't trace him. Can you trust him when you can't see your way out? Anybody could trust God with a meal on their table. People be coming to church, ooh, I'm going to dance. I done paid my mortgage. But what about when you ain't got the money? And you ain't got nobody to borrow it from? And you've exhausted everything. Can you trust him then? Second thing is, he stopped it up there because, watch this, it may have taken a while to get to them this way, but once it got dry by the priest, it was quicker for everybody to go over. Amen. Amen. Yes, indeed. It took longer for it to get to them, but it was quicker to go over. Wow. Longer to get to them, but quicker for them to go over. Yes, God. At the Red Sea, when it opened up, it took almost a day for them to go over. It's longer when God opens it up for you and you got to go across and your faith is not involved. But when your faith is involved, it takes longer for it to get to you. But once it gets to you, all you got to do is, Lord, I just preached the whole message. Y'all, did y'all get that? Did y'all, you listen. God is testing their faith. These people have never had that faith tested. Their mamas and daddies had already had their faith tested. When they were in the wilderness and when they were in Egypt, their faith was tested. They flunked the test. Now God has to test this new generation. Do you trust me? Now go stand there and wait. If something happens, I'm showing up. But if nothing happens, I didn't show up. But I need you to trust me. Amen. And see, some of y'all, I see the picture of y'all right now. Y'all ankle deep in the water. And nothing happening. Everybody laughing at you. Because you're standing in that water. And nobody sees nothing. But let me tell you something. You don't have to see it for God to do it. You don't have to see it. I'm telling y'all, doctors don't like me. I laugh at them because they think what they see on the machine is real. What they see is not real. What God says is real. So if God says I'm going to live, it don't make a difference what your machine says. Oh. Simone was pregnant with Timothy, talking about faith and sin. Timothy and Celeste. Well, she was upside down for like about 3 or 4 days, trying to get the sac to go back inside the uterus, all this kind of stuff. So anyway, so finally they said, oh, Miss Keys, you're safe. Everything is good. We're going to put you in a room. And Oxnard has a hotel next to the hospital that's a hospital hotel. In other words, the hospital is connected to the hotel, so the nurses come to you. And so me and Simone, we laying in the bed. We just, we laughing and joking. We laughing and we just having a good time. And then Simone went, ooh. And while we laughing and joking and she going, ooh, she said, I'm having contractions. I'm having contractions. So the nurse comes in. She looks at the machine because the machine is connected to the baby. Miss Keys, I don't see no contractions. She said, okay. Where the doctor at? So here comes the doctor. He's a resident, which means he's learning. But Simone has this case that everybody wants to be on. And he comes in the room. That's the one I think I got him fired, but y'all pray for me. Anyway, he comes in the room and he says, Mr. Keys and Mrs. Keys, you're not having contractions because the machine says. Simone tells him, I really don't care what the machine is now saying. I done had one baby and I know what a contraction is. This is a contraction. And a lot of us, we in the water. And the problem is we can't see the miracle. And so since we can't see it, we don't think it's happening. But watch this. If the water was moving down there, even though we couldn't see it, somebody else could see it. Even though the doctor couldn't see it on the machine, Simone could feel it in her stomach. Yeah. So stop worrying about what you see. How many of y'all just quit because you just, Lord, how many of y'all praying? I know this because y'all, Lord, just let me see some success. I'm going to share and I'm going to go. I got 2 more points, but I'm going to share this. Got frustrated in ministry. Preaching and teaching, pouring into folk. Wasn't seeing no success. And I was like, God, let me see something. But see, I didn't know he was down at Adam. Doing stuff in the lives of people. My problem is I'm in the water. My feet getting all swollen in the water. All getting heavy. And then folk, the problem is people start telling you, You still stuck there. Nothing ain't happening. And I'm trying to hold God, I'm trying to do what you told me to do, but they kind of right, so they're all getting heavy and my feet getting messed up. But the thing is, he wanted me to trust him. In the midst of trusting him, I had no idea of all the impact God was having. And so many of you are the same way. He's doing stuff in your life and you just can't see it. Hang on in there and trust him even though you can't see what he's doing. Let me close this thing. They stand in the water. Water recedes. They walk over to the other side. Chapter 4. Chapter 4, God tells them, where the priest standing, pull out 12 stones. 12, the number of government. Bring those 12 stones and put them up and set them up as a memorial to remember what I've done. Amen. I want to say this, and I got two things, and I'm out of here. When God brings you to the other side, never forget what he did to bring you to the other side. Yeah. So many of us, God has brought us over, and y'all done forgot. And, black folk got a way of forgetting. We just got a way of forgetting. Get our little education, get our little job, and forget who brought us out. Forget that it was nobody but God and his grace and his mercy that brought us out. And we don't want to help nobody else because we think it's all about us. And watch this, God didn't bring you out for you. He brought you out so that you could reach back and help somebody else to come across. But so many of us forget. He said, put up a memorial to remember what I have done. Now watch this. I don't want to preach this, but I want to throw this at you. He told them put up a memorial. They put up 2. Y'all better read the text. He ain't tell them put up 2. He told them put up 1. Oh, Lord. They put up 2. They put 1 where the priest's feet were standing, and then they put 1 at Gilgal. Now watch this. The reason why they put up 2, let me tell you why they put up 2. They put up 2 because the one at Gilgal, this wasn't little rocks. These was big old rocks. Big old men had to handle them. But every year when the river would flood, the rocks would be covered where the people couldn't see and remember. Joshua wanted to put it in a place where they would never forget what God has done. Because a lot of times we go through stuff where it covers up where we can't remember what God did. Remember when you was in that 1 bedroom eating them government cheese sandwiches that you made with a toaster? I'm not a toaster, iron. You iron that cheese and made that cheese soft. This child here put on Facebook himself ironing cheese because that was chic for him. He don't understand folk ain't had no stove. They ain't had no hot plate. They had to use that. All they had was an iron. He thought it was cool. He on Facebook. Folk that did that, they didn't want nobody to know. The gas was off. They ain't let nobody know that. We just trying to iron our little sandwich. God is good. So don't forget what God has done. Final point. This just messes me up. In the middle of chapter 4, Reuben, Gad, and Manasseh, or half the tribe of Manasseh, 40,000 of them, were the ones that led them over into the promised land. And when they got to the promised land, they were the ones that led the fight. Well, in Exodus and Numbers, they made a deal with Moses. Don't miss this. This is important. They said, we will go over and we will fight for you. But after we have conquered the land, we don't want the land on the west bank. We want the land on the east bank. And so Moses said, cool, you can have the land on the east bank. The Jordan River is the line of demarcation. Dead Sea, Sea of Galilee, Jordan River, Dead Sea. This the east bank, the west bank. Promised land over there. Don't miss what I'm about to tell you. We going home. These fools, and I'm calling them fools because y'all got to understand they got people like this. They crossed over. They went over and they fought, took the land of promise. And after they took it, they went back over here because they liked where they were more than what God had promised them. They fought for that land for them people. And then they went back to the other side. See, y'all think everybody want the promise. But everybody don't want the promise. If God has promised you this, that's what you're supposed to have. But everybody don't want that. Well, everything fine over here. It's nice over here. So Manasseh took that up there. Reuben took the middle part. Gad took the, watch this, it's more land, but it ain't the land of promise. And some of y'all trying to drag people into the promise that don't want to go. Come on, babe, let's go. Babe don't want to go. They will resist you. So why are you hooked up with babe that don't want to go? 1 Corinthians chapter 6, be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. First of all, unequally yoked deals with spiritually, but not only spiritually, mentally, emotionally. So if babe don't want, you want a 5-bedroom and babe just want an apartment and a rent paid. And the promise is a 5-bedroom. But if babe only want an apartment, you can't pull them over to the 5-bedroom. Now, if the promise is a 2-room apartment, that's cool. But if they're trying to bring you back to where God has not called you, don't be with babe. Oh, I done preached so good. I tell you, I feel good. See, everybody don't want the promise. Parents, you need to get education. Some fools don't want education. Amen. And you're trying to make them, you got to go to school. The promise right here. All they want is this. Thomas Keys Sr. 101. You can bring the horse to the water, but you can't make them drink. To me, this is one of the saddest things in Scripture. They went over with them. No, they didn't just fight. The deal was they had to fight in the front, so they had more people die for the people to get the land. And then after they got the land, what they fought for, they ain't want it. They went and got what wasn't theirs. So when you see the map of Israel and you see that Jordan River, everything on the west bank is the promise. Everything on the east, watch this. When you listen to the news, you constantly hear the east bank. Listen to the news. On the east bank of the Gaza Strip, on the east bank, they fight for stuff that ain't even theirs. It was never a part of the promise. Listen to it. East Bank, I'm telling you, listen to the news. East Bank. But the land of promise, see Jerusalem and all that stuff on the west bank. You must understand. Stop trying to get folk that don't want the promise to go with you. Everybody don't want it. Everybody doesn't want the brass ring. Everybody doesn't want success. Yes. And you trying to drag them. That's so sad. First time I saw that, and I was taught this in seminary, I'm like, are they crazy? Watch this. I won't say this, and I'm finished. Some people just content. Right. Yeah, I'm just happy. Can you ever be happy with what has not been promised you? Amen. Watch this. I am so happy in marriage because I am in my promised land. Yes. Amen. If I was married to anybody else, I might have a good marriage, but I wouldn't have the joy that I have because I'm not in my promised land. But this is my promised land. Amen. I ain't got to drag her into nothing. She ain't got to drag me into nothing. Amen. When we see it, we both are in agreement with it. Amen. Because we're in the land of promise together. Amen. Why y'all keep trying to drag folk with y'all? Can I take one more minute here? Just one more. You keep trying to pull people over here with you. They don't know nothing about no silverware. You taking out silverware for Thanksgiving, they want a Dixie cup. They don't want no crystal. They don't know no better. And you trying to drag them over. I don't need that. Just give me a cup. Give me a plate. Plastic fork. Here you trying to show them the cut with a steak knife. They still trying to cut with a butter knife. I'm talking pretty good. Y'all laughing because y'all know that person. That's why y'all laughing. Trying to drag them over. And you waste your time. You waste your time. Come. I want to go to see the Broadway musical, The Producers. Who produced it? No, the play, The Producers. But who produced it? Y'all wasting y'all time with some folk. Stop wasting your time. Stop wasting your time. Your destiny is not them. That's not your destiny. Think about this. They fought for years, took the land, and then walked back over. And they got the other side. They got the other side. But it wasn't the land of promise. It was good, but it wasn't the promise. It's kind of like this. You want to Escalade, but you got a Ford. A Ford is cool. It ride. It's an A to B. But if you want to Escalade, it's a whole different. You know, if for the church, I just want to let y'all know I'm finished. But if y'all gonna buy me a car, I want a Rolls Royce. Don't buy me a Cadillac. I want a 1999 Silver Seraph with the angel on the front. I'm just letting you know if you're gonna buy me a car. But I'm just saying, you know, the other things are right. But if the promise is the Seraph, y'all get what I'm saying? Right. They went back. They were there. But they went back. Some of y'all done drug them over. But they go back. Sweetie, if they go back, let them go. You heard what I said, Julia? Negro won't go back, let him go. Here, I'm trying to bring you to the land of promise, and you talking about you won't go back over there. Here they got grapes and all this other stuff, dates and all this other good stuff, and you bring your behind them. Let them, hey, wave at them on the other side. Lord. Let them see you over there eating your grapes, milk and honey. They might get some sense in them then. Oh, I'm talking to all my girls now. Stop going over there and getting them. Let them stay. Oh, Father, forgive me. I just get I get so angry, Colleen. I get so, why y'all over there? Okay, I'm finished. Oh, Lord. I had to get my sense back. I'm sorry. It's really aggravating. I get really aggravated. So once again, they went into the land of promise. So if you're going to transition, a couple of things. You got to follow God. God will change. You got to sanctify yourself. And then most importantly, you got to step in the water. It doesn't make sense. You can't see it. Where you step in is might not be where the miracle is taking place, but the miracle can't start until you step in. And then when you step in, God will bring you over. And when you get over there, everything he promised is, watch this, you ain't in your promised land if everything he promised is not there. Yes. Everything he promised got to be there. In other words, I don't have a perfect marriage. Don't miss this. But everything that he promised, I got. Do y'all ever see me not smiling? My children tell me I embarrass them. Timothy said, don't take all that. Wait. But I'm in my land of promise. It's good. in the land of promise. Ain't my fault you ain't in promise. When you in promise, it be good. Gooder than good. The goodest. The goodier. When you're in promise. Y'all feel what I'm saying? When you're in promise. So but watch this. If it's not everything he said it was going to be, you ain't there. I ain't saying it's going to rain in the promised land. You know, they got droughts in the promise, all kind of stuff. But the thing is, it's just good. Even in the rain, it's good. I'm finished. Let me pray. I'm about to go on. Let me pray. Father, we thank you so much for your word. We thank you for the opportunity to minister your word. And Father, those that are in transition, oh God, I pray for them now that you give them the courage to step into the water. Even though they don't know what's going to happen, how it's going to manifest. But God, we have your promise that you're going to do these things in our life. Give them the courage to step. Father, those that are not saved, Father, I pray that you will save them so that they can obtain the promise of eternal life. That once we step into relationship with you, we'll spend eternity with you. I pray now, God, that you will touch, save, and deliver. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.